Pizza's good.
You're the one that's good.
That actually sounds like something I would say. What up? It is your proverbial boy here, and today I'm coming at you with the first in a brand new series called Jeffy Reacts. A lot of people have been asking me to do this. Basically, I'm going to be reacting to pop culture depictions of dating. Because, while there are a lot of famous ones, I think that people who write movies and TV probably don't have the same level of experience that I do in these matters. I mean, I've been coaching this stuff live in the field, getting real world feedback for 20 years. And I think it's easy to forget that sometimes because, I look relatively young. I'm 45. I behaved relatively young. So sometimes people just see me, they're like, oh, it's Jeffy, whatever. But you got to remember, I'm legitimately one of the top 5 most experienced coaches in this area on the planet. Like literally on the planet. I was teaching this stuff before Facebook, before Instagram, certainly before TikTok. And, very often I see guys and they're like, oh, I'm taking a program with so-and-so, Mickey, the local lair kid. There's a lot of these new coaches, these dating coaches popping up like mushrooms after a rain. And they're all these like 20, 25-year-old kids that quite frankly don't know a goddamn thing about how to really teach this stuff or what's really going on. So it's like, do you want to take a course at the Learning Annex or community college on cooking, or do you want to go to Gordon Ramsay, right? So if you want to get that deep, meaningful, long-lasting identity level change, go to a professional, right? Go to a professional. I got a link in the description. You can see where I'm going to be. It'd probably be the best thing you ever did in terms of getting this handled straight up. So having said that, let's dive right in. The first thing I'm going to respond to, it's actually from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the longest running live action comedy on television. And as such, I've got the sunny background here. And I'm going to be reacting to an episode called The Dennis System, in which the character Dennis Reynolds, who is a notable sociopath, outlines his method for success in dating.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dennis System is a comprehensive approach to seduction that I have perfected over the years. Now, the first step to any erotic conquest is to demonstrate your value.
That's actually great advice, because you have to actually be able to give there's some sort of value exchange when you're meeting someone for the first time. And that's not a monetary value exchange. It's, especially when you're first introducing yourself, it's a feel-good exchange. And this is where I see so many people falter for a number of reasons. First off, the social narrative around most of dating is basically like looks and money. Like you need to be wealthy, you need to be good looking, or else you're going to be completely unsatisfied. You're going to be a complete failure. Now, and this is where a lot of these kind of, toxic groups in the manosphere spring up and stuff like that, who people become very bitter. But there's an old saying, get better, not bitter. Don't get bitter, get better. So yes, obviously those things are going to play a part. Obviously, you want to maximize your fitness for yourself, maximize your health, your fitness, maximize your income for your own personal enjoyment, and also so you can bring the people you love into that world with you, et cetera, et cetera. But look, beyond that, leading with those things is generally absolutely terrible, right? Leading with money is one of the worst things that you can do. Like again, I live here in the Bay Area. A lot of these tech guys, they lead with that as though the person's going to just swoon at how much stock options they have. And in reality, this just makes you look like a self-qualifying tool. And it's usually a major turnoff for 95% of people that you're going to talk to. So yeah, that's absolutely terrible. So you do need to demonstrate value. Now, how do you do that? Well, especially let's say in a nightlife environment, if somebody's there to unwind from their stressful work week, you've got to look at it like this. Look at your interactions through the following lens. Am I trying to weasel my way into their fun? Like they're having a good time and I'm going to go up and I'm going to be like, excuse me, may I join the fun? Right? In fact, if you said it like that, it would probably have a better chance of working. But again, are you trying to weasel into their party? Are you asking them, buoy up my state? Or B, are you already enjoying yourself and you're sharing. In other words, you have this kind of competitive air about you where it's like, I've got to get in. If I don't hook the interaction, if I don't hook the retention, I am diminished. I am lessened. I'm a loser. I have failed. It's a massive problem and it reflects poorly on me. Or B, I'm just enjoying myself and I'm having this collaborative frame where I'm just going to go up and share my experience and see who vibes with that, right? So again, when we're talking about vibe, aka charisma, this is what we're talking about, is being able to, boom, demonstrate that value very, very quickly without leading with money, without needing to be this super good looking guy or whatever the case may be. And in fact, very often, those so-called good looking students, they do the absolute worst on the live programs. Like they're paralyzed with fear. They have an inability to create a good vibe. And yes, some people they will get some success from time to time simply from aesthetics. But it's like a statistical roulette at that point. And it doesn't do much for your sense of confidence either, because you just feel like it's out of your control. And you're like kind of rolling the dice with this, again, statistical roulette. And so again, very often those people do the worst. And the less conventionally attractive people who have like this real fun, ebullient, outgoing, confident energy, these are the guys that have the success on the program. And the results on the program make some new friends in the night and who accompany them back to their home. So, but again, where does the value demonstration come in? Again, in your ability to project energy, to project a high output of vocal, mental, emotional, physiological, even spiritual energy. In other words, a full spectrum communication experience where you're going up and there's just something that cracks through their RAS. We're like, this guy's different. This person's interesting. This is outrageous. This is shocking. This is hilarious. This is poignant. Something's going on here, right here, that I need to pay attention to, right? And again, that's what captures the attention initially. Again, the demonstration of value through adding energy and interesting experiences to their night, as opposed to begging them to buoy up your emotional state.
Engage physically. I personally try to engage the girl physically without ever going on the date, which to me is really just a waste of time and money.
Wow, okay, a lot to unpack there. Now, there is something to be said for engaging physically with someone as swiftly as possible, given the context of the situation and their comfort level, everything like that. So, and the reason for that is, quite frankly, attraction happens quickly. It doesn't happen through careful plotting and planning. It's either going to happen immediately right off the bat, or it's never going to happen. So this is quite interesting, because very often I'll see people who, when they initially go up and try to speak to someone, they try to get comfort and rapport first. And look, and then I'll get attraction. It's like, well, yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like, yeah, first get comfortable first, right? But here's the issue. Nobody wants to get comfortable or gain rapport with someone that they don't even know, right? So there has to be some sort of interest first. Interest, aka attraction, first, before they're even gonna like imagine if somebody came up to you on the street, some dude, like you're waiting across the street, and some guy comes up to you and says, "Hey, what's your name?" You're like, Jeff. What do you do? I teach. Where do you live? The street. Who are you? Why do you want to know the answers to these questions? Why are you asking me this stuff? So again, very often people default to that boring interview style questions, content style, conversational style at the beginning of the interaction. They think it's building this comfort. And then like later, once I have comfort, then I can introduce the romantic angle or whatever angle you're trying to pursue there. But the problem is there's no interest. Like, why do they even want you to know this stuff? So you want to get interest and attraction first. And especially if we're talking, again, with dating, a romantic encounter here, that's obviously going to entail physicality at some point. So it may as well be as soon as possible, as opposed to like, I'm going to be under the radar and then surprise, I have hormonal feelings for you. Surprise, I have genitals. Right? Again, the longer you wait to introduce that, the weirder it's going to be when you finally do. So again, you want to flip the script on that. Attraction first, interest first, then comfort. And part of that obviously does mean, engaging physically.
You know, this great little restaurant doesn't take reservations. That makes it sound cool, makes it sound exclusive. And then when we get to the restaurant is closed. As, of course, it always is on Sunday. Well, I guess we could grab a pizza and watch a movie at my place.
Obviously, that's quite devious, but it's also kind of genius because it's taking into consideration the logistical factors. Now, typically when I go on a date, I want to select a place that's relatively close to my home. It's, again, very close to my home, like so close that it's within walking distance or across the street to minimize the trip back. Now, a friend of mine, many friends of mine, in fact, they do what they call the straight to home date, which is what Dennis essentially does here, but they actually just put it up front. They don't go through this whole ruse of the closed restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. They just invite them straight back to the house. They'll say something along the lines of, you know, I like to eat healthy. I'm actually a really good cook. I can cook dinner for you if you come by. Da, da, da. Now, many people are not going to agree to this, to like just go to some person's home. And quite frankly, I wouldn't do it because it's like, what if they're like a psycho and then I have this like nutcase in my home? So it's not for me, but I was surprised when these guys started doing it. It would just happen again and again and again. It's like they're having massive success with this to the extent where they don't even go out anymore, like on a date outside the home. They just do the straight to home dates. So, but regardless, I mean, try it out. You know, it's one of those things, everything must be field tested. And lo and behold, a lot of these guys found success with it. But again, bear in mind, logistics is king.
Mac has a very special place in my system.
Yeah, you see, I'm on the couch when they come in and ask to be alone. And then I say,
Oh, well, I guess we could always eat the pizza on my bed and watch the DVD in my room.
Now, I think that this is like largely unnecessary. I mean, I live with housemates and stuff. And when I would bring the date home, very often, I just straight to the room. I'm not even, there's no house tour. There's none of this nonsense. In fact, many times I'll come in and like the housemates will be there and I'll be like, don't look at these people. Don't speak to them. Come up here. Like just lead. It basically just lead. And it's, again, a lot of this seems like this unnecessary rigmarole. But again, I mean, these people are, Dennis, again, the guy playing Dennis, Glenn Howerton, he probably doesn't actually behave like Dennis, you know? So, again, you can see where the fiction isn't lining up with the reality. Just lead him straight there.
And once we're on my bed, it is game over. I engage her physically and the sexual waltz begins.
Pizza's good.
You're the one that's good.
That actually sounds like something I would say. Like, this is good. You're the one that's good. Or like another one I say quite a bit. They'll be like, oh, I love this. I'm like, I love you. But it's a shallow love. It's a superficial, shallow love. I mean, let's face it, we really haven't had time to get to know one another and discover each other's idiosyncratic personality quirks that are annoying. And I can't wait, Sarah, to become fucking annoyed with you. It's truly the best part of any relationship, isn't it?
Now, once you've had sex with the woman, she will naturally start to depend on you. Which brings me to the first N, nurturing dependence.
Okay, now we're getting into the psychotic part. Okay.
You can use my personal go-to, which is to create a fictional angry neighbor who's threatening her and tell her you'll take care of him. Hit up a payphone.
I'm watching you, bitch. You're gonna die tonight.
For sake, you're a complete sociopath.
Yeah, he is. He is a complete sociopath, isn't he? This is where it begins to go awry.
Now, if you've completed all the other steps properly up to this point, she'll naturally want to take the relationship to the next level, but you're not going to do that. You're going to do the exact opposite. Pull back, guys. Which brings me to the second N, neglect emotionally. Stop taking her phone calls. Maybe that fictional angry neighbor that you've simulated comes back, and this time, you're not around to cool him off.
Now, okay, what he's suggesting here is, I'm not going to say it's good advice, rather than neglect emotionally. A better way to put this would be remain non-needy. Because very often, I'll see guys who they meet someone, they really like them, and it goes great, but then they kind of start to crowd the other person too early in the relationship. And it sort of drives them away. Now, of course, this, again, is this right? Is it fair that this is the way things work? I mean, the dating game is fraught with all these kind of little games and mind games and stuff like that. And again, I wish it weren't the case, but very often, if you're really enthusiastic, even if the other person liked it as well on that same level, they'll kind of get a little wigged out, like things are moving too fast, and they'll step away, and you'll lose that relationship before it even has a chance to blossom. So what I always recommend to people is like, just stay the same, like act as if you don't care at all if you see them again ever. Now, the best way to do this is to have true abundance in your life, right? Don't be like, this is the best person I've ever been with. I really want to see them again. Be like, you know what? Have this mentality that like attractive people are abundant, people that like me are abundant, good relationships are abundant, good interactions are abundant. And if they want to see me again, that's great. Again, essentially zero fear of loss. From a personal standpoint, every single time that I ever, hooked up with somebody and was like, wow, that was amazing. That was so mind-blowing. They're so attractive to me. I can't wait to see them again. In fact, I'm envisioning making them my significant other. I want to show them off to my friends so they can be like, wow, damn, you came up, son. All that stuff. Every time I've thought that, like, I better act different. I better behave differently to make sure this one works. Every single time I've done that, it's failed. Every single time. It's kind of funny too. I have a buddy, and this guy, he has moderate success, and I was hanging out with him the other day. He's like, oh, this girl's coming to meet us. I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, I hate this. I fucking hate this chick. I'm like, why? She's like, she's stupid as hell. She's like, she gave my roommate COVID and this, that, and the next thing. And I just haven't I blocked her. I haven't talked to her in months. She begged me to meet her out. And I'm finally agreeing to do it. I'm like, oh shit, okay. She shows up and she's like super hot. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, this is like one of the hottest people I've ever seen him with. Probably the most. And she's like super into him. She's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I hate her. She's stupid. Like, so what? So wait a minute. You blocked her for like 6 months and now she's like begging you to come back. It's like this guy previously, again, every time he had been with someone of that, like a higher caliber, quote unquote, he got too needy, pushed him away, wasn't able to keep him around. But now he's treating this one like dirt, and she's basically begging to hang out and calling him all the time. He's even still like, I'm probably not going to hang out with her again. She's fucking dumb. She, COVID, blah, blah, blah. She's a vaccine denier and all this shit. Like he really has like a bit of contempt. And as such, it's making her more interested, which I think is a pretty funny dynamic. But again, it's because he's being non-needy. That's the ultimate lesson here. Remain non-needy.
Hello?
Welcome to
This will frighten the shit out of her. She'll start questioning her self-worth, start questioning her self-esteem. And that's the perfect time to inspire hope. I went to her window and I screamed, Kaylee, listen, wait. I want to tell you that the reason I was distant is because I was afraid that you were going to break my heart. And I got scared. I'm not scared anymore, baby. I love you. I need you. And then bang. And this is the best bang of all because it's very emotional for her. You see?
Dude, okay. Damn, dude. So when he's talking here about inspiring hope, I've demonstrated characteristics of this in my career or in my life as well, by essentially being the player with the heart of gold, right? You're the player with the heart of gold. Like, so yes, I have this abundance. Yes, I have an ability to go meet people very easily. Yes, I have an active social life. But at the same time, when I pick someone to be close to me, when I pick someone to kind of get into the higher tiers, I'll treat them like royalty, right? I'll be very, very caring, do a lot of very generous things, be a lot of, just be there for them whenever they need it, really. I mean, so it's kind of this weird juxtaposition that is actually quite powerful. Again, the player with the heart of gold, because they're like, oh, I know he's this player, whatever, but he treats me so good, like almost, again, in a weird way, like you don't see what I see in him type of thing. when their friends will ask them, why are you with this essentially this scumbag? They're like, no, he's actually really nice. And then I actually meet the friends and I'm like really cool to them too. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a cynic. I believe in love, right? I've always had, like, for the most of my career, I've always had like a primary significant other during, while I was going out and doing all this other stuff. So, but again, when I've elevated that person to that spot, I treat them like royalty.
And then I slink out into the night, never to talk to her again. Separate entirely. D-E-N-N-I-S. The Dennis system.
So he ghosts. Then he ghosts at the end. I've done it. Let's just leave it at that.
And you set it up so you can get these chicks back at any time, huh?
That's exactly right, Charlie. You're really picking up on this. I'm proud.
So, again, it sounds really bad, but to a certain extent, I've experienced this as well. I mean, I always had a saying back then, like guys will often ask me, they say, well, how do you keep somebody interested when you're not willing to commit? And I always tell them, I'm like, look, people they're going to be cool with it till they're not. And then once they're not, they're going to be like, I've literally had people like give me the ultimatum, like it's either me or all this game. And I'm like, I'll miss you. And I will actually miss them. But again, I'm like, I got to be true to the game, so to speak. And yeah, I just had to let them go, and that, again, you have to have zero fear of loss. And that means sometimes you are going to lose. But interestingly enough, with those ones, very often I notice they come back. And that's sort of like the pension, I used to call it, where, if you've had enough experience, you've had enough relationships, in my case, they number in the hundreds, it's like, well, those people aren't dead. I'm sure some of them are dead. Sure, there's at least like 2 to 5 that have shuffled off this mortal coil by now. But the vast majority of those are still kicking around the planet somewhere. And at any time, they can call you up and be like, hey, what's up, Jeff? I'm in San Francisco. Are you still around? Let's grab a drink if you're not busy. And then it's like, I'm back.
I 100% guarantee you this girl's finished with you.
Well, I take that as a challenge, D, and I accept that challenge. I'll have her back by the end of the day. Hey, Kaylee.
What do you want?
Listen, before you say anything, I just want to say that I'm really sorry. And then it took a turn for the worse, and it's got me in a really bad place.
I don't think your grandmother exists, Dennis.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, I looked into it. There's no, Dr. Toboggan in Philadelphia either.
Oh. He's not based in Philly. I'm going to call him because if he's still giving people prescriptions on that pad, those people could get in a lot of trouble.
Oh, whoa. What the hell are you doing here? I'm swooping in on your chick. What?
What is this swooping in business?
Oh, that's my system. The MAC. Move in after completion. I wait till you're done with him, and then I swoop in, give him a shoulder to cry on, and then we hump.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people do this as well. A viable strategy.
What are you two dickheads doing here? What are you doing here? What do you mean? I'm here for the scraps. And I come in after Matt, but he's taking like forever this time. I got my Magnum condoms. I got my wad of hundreds. I'm ready to plow.
It's a delicate ecosystem. We gotta stick with it. Just let him do his thing, and then we'll come in for seconds and scraps.
Get out.
Just play it cool.
Or she sees you. Hurry up, though.
The funny thing is, like, I could actually see, because I have seen like a guy like Frank be successful. I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, but they'll be successful just by sheer persistence and like volume. Like guys like that, these kind of like strange looking fellows who are kind of in many ways grotesque, but they just like go very hard. And like I had a friend of mine, he was essentially oblivious to rejection, and he would just persist and like continue to try with different people, and then eventually someone would be like, okay, which just goes to show it's like so if you're persistent enough and you don't take it too seriously, you'll often have a lot more success than those who don't persist and again view it as this war or this chore or this like going through the fire. It's like these kind of guys, they just don't. They're sort of oblivious to the rejection and they just don't care. They're like numb to it. Not even numb, like oblivious to it. They're just like, okay, dirt, and they just like keep going along. Now again, is it the best strategy? Not necessarily. Like it'd be much better for him to learn the proper ways. But I mean, it just goes to show this ain't that deep.
I don't know. I did everything right. And I can't get past the letter D, dude.
Okay, what did you do exactly?
I broke into her place. I ripped her sink apart. I brought a bag of hair.
Nothing that you just described sounds correct.
Maybe it's just over my head, the system, you know? Maybe I should just stick to stalking. Maybe that's my system. She got a job at the fair. It could be fun to stalk around a fair.
Okay, clearly none of you have any idea how to run my system. God damn, all right, I'm gonna get everybody what they want, including myself. Let me just think for a second. We're going to the fair. I will provide the perfect setting for all of our needs to be met.
What's happening?
What's happening is we're at the fair, Gladys, and you're gonna act like my grandma, okay? Hi, Mac. Kaylee, I didn't see you there.
What are you doing here?
This is my Nana. She's on the mend, so I wanted to get her out of the house.
Leave us alone.
No, but listen, just listen to me for 1 second, okay?
What?
Dennis, I've been looking all over for you. Where you been? Hello, Dr.
Hi.
Toboggan. I got your test results. You're positive. You got the HIV. Yes, AIDS,
What
big
are you
time.
doing?
You got the AIDS, big time.
What are you doing?
I'm making her feel worthless. You see? She thinks she's got the HIV. Then I slip in.
So I wonder if there's a kissing booth anywhere close.
Oh!
You idiot! Why would you stab me? I was flirting with you.
You were supposed to stab her, man. You were supposed to stab her.
What? You would have me
I
stabbed?
was going to protect you.
Wrong! Wrong! Nobody should be going off my system.
What do you mean off your system?
That's true. Nobody should be going off his system, except Dennis. So that's that. If you liked this video and you want to see more of this particular kind of reaction content, be sure to let me know by liking the video, sharing it, and subscribing to this channel. You can also let me know in the comments any other dating scenarios that you'd like to see me react to, at least in the fictional realm. I mean, personally, I don't traffic in fictions. I traffic in reality. My life certainly is not a fiction, even though it can seem like it at times. I'm just a regular guy, but I learned to live this lifestyle and make the myths, so to speak. And in the 20 years that I've been doing this, I've taught thousands of people to be able to learn how to live that lifestyle as well. On that note, I have put up a ton of new infield trainings pretty much through July of 2022. So I'm going to be next month in October, I'm going to be in Los Angeles, San Diego, coming back to San Francisco, Chicago, Atlanta, so on and so forth. And I'm really excited. I'm actually going to be doing a New Orleans program, a 5-day Mardi Gras program culminating on Mardi Gras. And that should just be a ball and a hell of a time. Probably hear the Juvenile song "Back That Ass Up" at least 1,000 times. Might have some crawfish, some slurricanes, meet some people. Just do it up. Who dat? So anyway, to see the full schedule and apply to be on one of these programs, go to jeffyinperson.com right now. If you see the value of associating with me and my crew of esteemed colleagues on one of these programs, you see how that would be helpful for you? Again, go to jeffyinperson.com and apply. I'll be more than happy to change your life. If you don't see the value in this, you can go fuck yourself. You're essentially an imbecile, and you can continue to wallow in low self-esteem, loneliness, shame, and despair. But you're not that, you're smart. jeffyinperson.com. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.